So, welcome to another episode of the Decogged podcast. Today, we are going to talk about the Metaverse and I guess the future of the Metaverse and how does it apply to us as 3D
how
artists?
does it affect us?
Yeah,
I
and
think
consumers.
it's gonna.
Yeah.
It's obviously gonna change the game for a lot of the people in the industry right now.
Yeah.
There's gonna be so much work, right? Because the Metaverse, and I guess it's gonna be a battle, right, between all these different Metaverse platforms.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss some of them in a bit.
Yeah.
But
I guess for people who don't know about the Metaverse and people who think like Metaverse is actually just Facebook, it's not. Basically, take their avatar and go into this virtual world, like sort of like, Second Life.
just interact with people and
Play
socialize.
games.
Yeah, it's basically like a virtual world.
Yeah.
where anything's possible really in that world.
Exactly.
And definitely should stress that, like, when we say Metaverse, it's just a concept, right?
Yeah.
It's not owned by Facebook or aka Meta now.
Yeah.
It was a genius marketing ploy from them. By changing their name to Meta, they've almost like owned the mind share of people when everyone thinks of the Metaverse. Like, anyone who hasn't looked into it, they think, oh, that's that Facebook's thing. Right?
Yeah.
But no, it's not. Like, there's many different companies out there building Metaverse platforms.
Yeah.
And if anything, I think everyone is almost universally in agreement that Facebook's Meta is not
The way to go.
is not the way to go, right? That's not what everybody wants.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say not what everybody wants. I'm sure there's big players involved in Facebook's Meta, but and they're probably really well positioned to succeed in that world.
Yeah.
But it's at the same time it has all the same issues that Facebook had and social media has today, which is centralization and like data mining.
Yeah.
And other things that people are concerned about, like censorship and all sorts of stuff. So
or
privacy.
maybe even just the whole political like stuff with Facebook and how they were struggling with, like, technically they're a company, but they're also like, are they supposed to sort of censor certain things because they are a company? Like fake news and stuff like that.
Like, how much power do you give this company here to influence like the world, society?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, things that they probably shouldn't have that much influence over.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
And like, it's kind of like that saying, like, the great power, great responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think there's no winning for them.
Yeah.
And even Zuckerberg said this himself in an interview with Lex Friedman. In that podcast, he basically said, like, anytime they make a decision to act on something, to censor it, there's no winning. Like, if they do the right thing, one side's going to be like happy and one side's going to be unhappy. So if they think like, oh, this is the right way to go, and even if both sides like are in agreement that that's the right decision, no one's like applauding them. No one's saying like, oh yeah, you guys did a good job in that decision. It's kind of like, oh well, they got this one right. Oh, look at them, they finally got one right. But there's always going to be someone who disagrees with the decision that they made. If they censor somebody, someone's going to be unhappy. If they don't censor somebody, somebody's going to be unhappy. It's like,
it's very true. Like, I mean, as much as before, like, we won't get too much into Zucks, but he's definitely like, he's a robot, but it's definitely a hard position where they're at, because they're essentially a Web2 company, but they have to navigate through all these like sort of political situations and issues, and like you said, like, you can't satisfy any one party, like, or it feels like whatever you do, you make someone else unhappy, right? So it's almost like a lose-lose at this point.
Exactly.
Which back then wasn't the case. It's because it's become more of a
because it's so big and so influential now. People realize how powerful they are, and it's kind of like, well, if the world is going towards Metaverse, and I think obviously we believe it is, and it just gets more and more centralized, because it just now, like, in like Facebook, aka Meta, actually owns Metaverse, then we're just gonna face the same problems, but probably even exacerbated. 'Cause,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like even more stuff's gonna live in the metaverse than they did on Facebook. So
Well, there's going to be much more functionality.
yeah, I
and
think people would
features.
spend a lot
Yeah.
more time than they probably care to admit.
Yeah.
And they'd probably even realize that they would on Metaverse.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not us, our generation, but maybe it's the next generation.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, like, because we're pretty tech savvy, our generation, we will probably be in that
Yeah.
in that world pretty deep as well.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like there's all these different platforms now which are trying to compete so that they can get that big share of the market when
Yeah.
it comes. And maybe it's not going to be one platform rules them all, but there's definitely a war for
The
ownership.
majority of the, I guess, the metaverse.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you want to be the platform that has all the action.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that kind of brings us to the next question, like,
yeah.
what platforms are there now? Like who are the players who are trying to get in?
Yeah. So I think like the major ones that we thought of were that we believe are the major ones are Decentraland, Sandbox, and NFT Worlds.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, there's some other ones as well, but definitely those are the three that gets most of the headlines and are more polished than the other other options, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so in your opinion,
I guess there's Roblox now too.
oh,
but
Roblox, yeah. In your opinion, like, how would you choose which one to get into if you were a consumer? Like, what are you looking for? And like if I was just, because we're still pretty new to the whole metaverse idea. Like, how do we get into this, like, the metaverse? Like,
Yeah.
which
I
one do we
mean,
choose? Yeah.
that's a great question. Like I haven't booted up any Metaverse applications. I don't know about you. Like I haven't even opened any one of them up because they're still like too much in their infancy right now. That there's probably not a lot going on for us
Yeah.
as consumers. I know there's a lot going on for people who are like already deep into that world, and there's probably a lot of action happening. But I think just for us as like everyday users, we're still waiting for a lot of adoption from other
Mainstream.
mainstream essentially.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be a tipping point, right, where it's like, okay, now if I don't join the metaverse, I'm missing out.
Yeah.
I'm missing out on something, an experience. I'm missing out on like
Yeah.
utility or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But I think we're still like not quite there yet. Maybe it's like the next couple of years,
Yeah.
maybe in 2-3 years even.
Yeah.
But if I was looking at a metaverse platform, I would be asking a couple of questions. I'm like, how decentralized is it? And this is just from my own checklist of things, because everyone's got their different. Like some people probably don't even care about decentralization.
Yeah.
But then just touching upon that topic again of like censorship, privacy, owning your own data, all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
If you value that, then you should value decentralization.
Yeah.
Because no one entity has that power. So because no one entity has that power, no one entity can control the narrative, can censor anyone.
Yeah.
So it has to be sufficiently decentralized, in my opinion. It has to be open enough where it's like, what would reflect the true end goal of the metaverse, which is to create another world.
Yeah.
And that, I feel like that's a hard one to answer, right? But I feel like one of the requirements for that is you can't lock in a style, because then, I'm thinking like Ready Player One style, where it's like, it's completely crazy, right? Like there's different characters from all kinds of IPs, but there's different styles of models. There's different like worlds that look completely different from one another.
But they can still coexist in one space.
Yeah, they can coexist in one space. So I feel like the metaverse in my head is like, that's what it's going to look like. It's going to look like Ready Player One. But right now, there's not many platforms that are that open in terms of style. Every kind of platform is kind of shoehorning their users into a particular style. And I think because of technical limitations.
Yeah.
So that's probably one thing I'll be looking at. It's like, which platform has the broadest style, the least lockdown style, and then I think finally it would be the experience, right? Like what actually lives on the platforms.
Yeah, exactly.
What can you do on them?
Yeah.
And right now there's not much, right? But we can go over some things like that they do have now.
Yeah.
But
I mean, right now, yeah, like we said, it's still in its infancy. There's not like too much, I guess, real world utility. I mean, we know that Ariana Grande had a concert, and someone else had a concert.
I
in
think
the
there's like a
metaverse.
few DJs that did like DJ sets on.
Yeah.
Well, not a few. I think there's actually quite a few that did like DJ sets like in
Yeah.
like Decentraland and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, that's perfect for our time during COVID because people can't go anywhere.
yeah.
But it like if you say like right now, they're still not like I think that if everybody can travel anywhere, they will still go to concerts in real life.
Yeah.
You know, and
Like
really
the experience
that.
is just better in real life than it is
Yeah.
in the metaverse.
Yeah, so that's why we still think it's like it's not nearly like it's still in its infancy stages, right? Because but yeah, at one point I think that will change where it's like oh, it's more beneficial to go into the metaverse to have these concerts.
Yeah, yeah. Or it'll be like a different experience. It's like,
Exactly.
So it's not either or. It's like both.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Like I want to go real life concerts, but then I also want to.
Yeah.
I want to like do this metaverse thing too, because it's probably going to be like a totally different experience.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's not just like gaming. I think a lot of people think like automatically like metaverse is just for gaming.
Yeah.
I get why, because you're using an avatar and you're moving
Yeah.
in
You're
this
going
virtual
around.
world,
Yeah, in
right?
this virtual world. So naturally, games is like the
Exactly.
first like point of like
Yeah.
contact when
Yeah.
when you enter these worlds. It's like, oh well,
Yeah.
it's basically a game. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of game mechanics to it.
Yeah.
But I think like you're saying, it's not going to be just gaming. It's
Yeah.
like the concerts is a good example
Yeah.
where it's like it's a virtual experience.
Yeah.
I can see there being like these virtual movies probably where it's
Yeah.
like an interactive movie.
Yeah.
We even talked about like potentially doing interactive storytelling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then there's going to be like even like crazy things like shopping, interactive shopping.
Well,
you
yeah,
know?
it's basically going to be like an economy. Like it's not just for, gaming or whatever. It's going to be a full economy.
It's
And-
going to be exactly.
Yeah.
And then there'll be probably like certain activities that you can do in these platforms that like just suck you in and keep you there.
Yeah.
You
Well, I
know?
mean, like you said, like movies, right? I can imagine like you can't always, get together to watch movies with your friends, especially if they're like overseas or whatnot.
Yeah.
What better way to, experience that and have them sort of like as close as you can get to
Yeah,
real,
in
like
that
being
same
in,
world.
like, yeah, being next to each other is to watch a movie at the same time. But adding the fact that, oh, what if it's an interactive movie where you guys can all
Yeah, you
choose
can,
like an outcome?
yeah,
of-
exactly.
in the
Yeah.
movie.
You
Yeah.
can choose an outcome. Maybe
Yeah.
it's like it's almost like semi a puzzle game. So
Yeah,
maybe the part of that movie experience is like, the main character's like needs to find something, and then
Yeah.
maybe you guys are there and you can interact somehow with
Yeah.
that main character.
Yeah.
Maybe you're like, it's like almost like breaking that fourth wall, and that
Yeah.
kind of opens up that storytelling
Yeah.
to a lot of different possibilities. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, am I playing a game? I don't know. Am I watching
Yeah.
a movie? I don't know. It's like at that point, it's probably its own genre of like storytelling.
Exactly. So that's why it's like it's pretty exciting. The real world, the possible applications of it. But yeah, like you said, I guess those 3 points, like being decentralized, I feel like that's a really important part, because I mean, why even have these NFTs and cryptos, like cryptocurrency? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the whole point of it, is to decentralize so no one can control
Yeah,
one
exactly.
like no one body can control everything, right?
Yeah.
Because technically, like I'm not sure if people know that if banks didn't want you to take out your money,
Yeah.
they can freeze, like for whatever reason, they can freeze you from taking your money out,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether they're going through like
And obviously, like people in like a well-off
Yeah.
country wouldn't think that. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
But we saw that happen in Canada with the
Yeah.
truck drivers.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah.
And you see that happening like in other parts of the world where like maybe the government isn't so good. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's a little bit more corrupt. So the banking system's a little bit
Yeah.
more tied to that.
Yeah.
Like corruption. So it's like, well, it's kind of a scary prospect, but it's kind of like if they wanted to, they can. And it's almost like you don't want to even have that chance. Like that
Yeah.
shouldn't even be in the conversation, right?
Yeah.
Plus, there's like crazy things like that out there. You know, I mean, I haven't looked into it much, but like I hear there's like companies that basically have like majority shares in like a lot of these big banks around the world. Like one, for example, is BlackRock.
Yeah.
So BlackRock basically owns like everything. That's kind of crazy. They own like so much of the world, like the banking system, like assets, investment funds, all kinds of things, right? So they have so much power to influence how things happen.
Yeah.
And it's hard to escape that.
Yeah.
You know, even if we go to like these decentralized systems, there's always going to be a level of centralization. But I think at least it kind of tips the scale a little bit back in the favor of, you know, just the regular people, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly. And that's why it's important for, you know, I think the metaverse to be more leaning to decentralization than centralized. And I think, you know, you also said having the freedom of style. I think that's really important. And that's why we're actually, like, for me personally, like, and I know you do too, like when you look at Sandbox, there's only what, like, that's the style.
Yeah.
You know, the sort of Minecraft looking style. And, you know, that's pretty limiting. And if you think about, you know, this metaverse is supposed to be this all expanded, like, it's a virtual world that we can create anything.
Yeah.
But you're sort of, because of Sandbox, like the style, like you're locked into that style for the rest of your, like, I guess your time using it.
Yeah.
And that's very, like, if you think about like how much more you can do, especially as a 3D artist, when we can create anything, that's so just, it's like basically you can only play with Lego for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. You know, it's like, we can do anything you want, but it has to be done with Lego. And then, you know, you can do a lot with Lego.
Yeah.
That being said, so it's not knocking Lego or anything.
Yeah.
It comes a point where it's like, this isn't enough now. Like, we need more than just this. Like, how are we going to tell these like high quality immersive stories with this crazy immersive experience with just like these basic blocks? You know, at some point that's not going to be enough. You just can't get to that level of fidelity. And I don't know what Sandbox's play is. Like, maybe they're starting off like in this very kind of shoehorn style. But maybe at some point, if they have a big enough user base, they could be like, well, hey, look, guys, we built this other platform now, which is tied to Sandbox. But it's like an open style version. You know? So, I mean, that could be like in their long-term roadmap. Who knows, right? But
or maybe if you level up enough, so you play enough, you get more pixels. So you become a higher fidelity.
Damn.
But
this gives me WoW vibes. Again. You gotta get to level 60 to play the.
I need to fight some more pixels.
Game.
I want to see my nose.
Everyone's just grinding to like max level.
You're attuned, like, you know, the drops are just pixels, like, so you can just add on to yourself.
It's like, now I got a red pixel now. Finally, I can change my eye color or something.
But yeah, like, I think, I think that's really important, like, to have that flexibility, because, you know, like you said, there's only that many stories you can tell from like Lego, and you can tell great stories, but you also want to try different styles, right? And you don't want to be locked into one, so that's really important.
And I think that kind of touches on the point of like how that affects us as like 3D artists. I think like I was saying, like maybe with certain things like Sandbox, it's open to like maybe custom animation. I don't know if that's a thing, but maybe you can custom animate some of these characters. But still, you know, it's limiting it to the point where it's maybe other 3D artists can't get involved in creating these worlds. So I think the more open the style and the more open the platform is to allowing us to, you know, create our own models and whatnot and bring them in, the better it'll be for us as artists, like as 3D artists, because then we have more work, you know. We're basically the architects of this metaverse.
Exactly. And I guess I quickly want to show you, like, people
some of the visuals.
Whoops, is this okay? I think this is
the base scene. So we should show that too.
So this is Sandbox, and, you know, clearly you can tell it's very, like, it's a very polished, like,
it definitely has like a higher
see.
quality, I think, of
Yeah.
quality control, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Sorry, this is just yeah. So clearly you can see like it's actually nicer than I thought like initially.
Yeah.
I think yeah, there's like a level of polish on it that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting even more Minecrafty, but I think
It's kind of
this
like
is a little
Minecraft
bit-
plus.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know? It's
yeah.
like you got a few more pixels than you did in Minecraft. But
yeah, so it has its own appealing style, but you know, again, like we said, it's like limited to only this, right?
yeah.
So
But if you look at the brands, the companies that are involved, I mean,
yeah,
that's
Snoop Doggy Dogg.
yeah.
Yeah,
The Smurfs, I didn't
Yeah.
know about that one.
Hell's Kitchen. Wow, great show.
But you know, there's
Yeah.
some big players like
Yeah.
Adidas and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I do want to play like now. Like, I do want to go in and just like try it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, this is sandbox essentially, and Decentraland is what we're actually more drawn towards because it's more, it's a more freestyle. It feels like it's like you know, it's more I guess up our alley in terms of like
it
as
feels
3D
like
artists.
way
Yeah.
more customizable in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah,
Like if you because if you go to the docs
whoops.
section, there's a builder, so there's
Yeah.
a interact. Like all these platforms have these builder applications where
Yeah.
you can make assets and stuff like that.
should I go to create?
Yeah, if you go to create, you can see it actually tells you how to import
Yeah,
your
Oh,
own 3D models and
Yeah,
your own 3D assets, right? So
Yeah.
there's a whole documentation
yeah,
around that.
Yeah, but I guess like this leads us to like one of our like you know friends, Studio Sparkles. It's a few animators like that we know in the industry that aren't going to be doxxed right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So we can't say
At
their
some
names.
point, yeah.
Yeah, but they make some really cool like you know wearables for Decentraland or
Yeah.
in just Metaverse, right? I forgot. Oh no, Decentraland. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
more
Decentraland.
specifically Decentraland.
Yeah.
And you can see like these are custom assets that they're making. It's not
Yeah.
like they had to use these voxels to construct this thing. And
Yeah.
I can see the appeal of like having those voxels and having anyone can make anything using
Yeah.
those voxels, but you can't make something as high
Yeah.
fidelity as
It's
this.
this. Yeah.
And this isn't even
great.
like the final form of the platform, right?
Yeah.
You know, assuming that the technology gets better,
Yeah.
like we'll obviously be able to make higher and higher quality.
Yeah. Quality stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what like I love this. My favorite is this TV. I love the
TV
style.
head.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And then look, it's like it's a 3D. It's an
Yeah.
OpenGL viewer.
Yeah.
Is it OpenGL? I can't remember.
No, it's
like
GL. What's the format?
GLF is the 3D format.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it's using like WebGL or something
Oh,
to
okay.
display it.
Yeah. But yeah,
Um,
this is awesome. I love this, and you'll never get this in like Sandbox and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely check like you know if you guys are interested in this Metaverse stuff, definitely check these guys out because they have some great stuff and this animation. Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah,
but
it's so
we'll
good.
show that next time. Yeah. But yeah, definitely worth a check. Like, worth it to check it out. It's definitely like these are the two that you know I know the most about. I don't know too much about NFT worlds.
So NFT Worlds is, I guess, it's kind of like Sandbox in a sense that it's voxel based. So
Yeah, yeah.
You kind of build things with these voxels.
Yeah.
Why this one has been blown up is because a lot of NFT projects have been buying land
Yeah.
in this NFT Worlds.
Yeah.
So I don't know why specifically they have been buying land in these in this NFT Worlds, but you
Yeah.
can see there's a bunch of projects already like
Oh
kind
yeah.
of, trying to onboard onto this.
Okay.
I guess these are the worlds themselves, but yeah,
Okay.
I've heard about it because like a bunch of projects have recently bought land. So
Okay.
a lot of these metaverse platforms is based on land, right? So
Yeah.
they're trying to artificially create scarcity so that the land that exists in these NFT worlds have some value.
Yeah.
So
It's
whether
limited.
it's Decentraland
Yeah.
or Sandbox or whatever, it's to kind of like mimic real life how land has some sort of intrinsic value because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
scarce.
Yeah.
But again, like I don't know if this whole narrative will play out, but if there is this multiverse kind of metaverse ecosystem where it's not just one metaverse platform that kind of exists, they all have to kind of coexist with one another. I feel like the LAN itself won't be as valuable because, you know, next year there's a new metaverse platform that pops up that does something specific that has its LAN.
Yeah.
So, you know, unless there's like a very high volume of activity on a very small set of metaverse places, the LAN itself won't be that valuable. But again, you know,
I'm thinking maybe it's almost like WoW servers. You know, it's like, like
just keep making more. When the server's full, you just make more servers.
But then there's going to be a few that's going to be like that houses the most
players. It's kind of I think people will naturally congregate to like a few smaller, like a few like individual platforms, just because like you want to be where the action's happening. So I think naturally that's what's going to happen.
Well, I'm wondering whether it's like I guess when I wonder whether there's going to be like some kind of portal where it's almost like in Wreck-It Ralph where you go into these different worlds. So it basically connects all these metaverses together.
Yeah, I feel like there'll be a lot of like economic incentive to do that. Yeah. Because if you think about the ecosystem, like maybe one platform's better suited for certain things. Yeah. So for example, Decentraland, in my opinion, would be more suited for clothing. Yeah. You know, so if you wanted to sell clothing, you're going to get a better representation of the clothes themselves in Decentraland. Yeah. So that makes sense to me, right? But maybe there's more like fun and games in something like Sandbox. Or like NFT worlds or
like
whatever.
Party games or something.
Exactly, And maybe that's like, you know, a certain group of people will congregate in those worlds. But maybe there's no one world that kind of dominates in all the aspects. Yeah. So then it's kind of like, okay, well, if I want to do this particular activity, I should go to this world. Yeah. And I think there'll be a lot of incentive for these metaverse worlds to then try to open up and connect all their NFTs to one another. So maybe if you own an avatar in Decentraland, you can bring that avatar over to Sandbox. You know, so you have a seamless kind of experience. You don't have to like recreate your whole character again. Maybe you bought an NFT that's like super rare from a particular project. Yeah. But it's like if you can only use that one NFT in this one platform, then you're going to want to stay in that one platform, right? Yeah, yeah. So maybe these worlds will try to open up a little bit and start to,
I mean, I think that it comes down to like whether people want the whole piece of the pie or they're really open to just open up their doors to collaborate with other for example, Decentraland working with Sandbox. Yeah. And, you know, making sure there's a connection, like where people can, you know, just travel between those worlds. Yeah. Without
like
any
seamlessly.
Yeah, seamlessly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, you know, that's the ideal scenario for us as consumers. Yeah. But again, that's like, it depends on,
there's the business side.
Yeah. We should mention that with Decentraland, one of the good aspects of Decentraland is that it is like decentralized, right? Yeah. Maybe it's not like as decentralized as it needs to be for the future, but it's definitely heading that direction, right? That's one of the focus, hence the name Decentraland.
Yeah. And it's definitely and you know, a lot of NFT projects now are also, you know, heading towards the metaverse, right? Yeah. People are starting to make these big plays like, you know, is it Yugi Labs? Yuga. Yeah. I always get back. Yeah. Came out thinking Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. And these guys, like, you know, everybody knows, you know, Bored Apes. Yeah. And you know, they recently, I guess, consolidated. Like they bought CryptoPunks, and
I think they already had Meebits was part of Lava Labs. So now they basically own Meebits too, I believe.
Yeah, so they apparently they were valued at something ridiculous. I forgot, like it was like 450 million. I need a fact check.
Yeah. It's definitely like I think like big projects. They're big projects in the space, and now they've kind of consolidated under one company. Yeah, which I don't know. It kind of scares me as well because it is getting
Well,
centralized in that sense.
exactly. And they actually came up with their own like currency, and that's actually selling, like it's actually trading on a financial platform.
Yeah.
For,
So it's a token like just
Yeah.
any other crypto token. You
Yeah.
can make these tokens just on Ethereum. Like anybody can make a token.
Yeah.
So there's no intrinsic value to the token itself.
Yeah.
But what gives the token value is it's what it's linked to, right?
Yeah.
So they have this ape coin, which
Yeah.
has kind of been blowing up lately
Yeah.
because they just released it. And I guess you use ape coin, and I think it's a DAO coin. It's like it gives you voting rights. So they're trying to decentralize and give people the ability to kind of vote on decisions and stuff like that, which is good. Like I think that's a good move, especially if you have that many projects under your belt.
Yeah.
You want to be kind of heading towards decentralization.
Yeah.
Sounds like they're trying. But yeah, maybe ApeCoin would have more utility in the future, like being used in the metaverse.
Yeah, I mean, like anything, like you don't like it doesn't have value until they do more stuff, and like whatever their play is in the metaverse, we'll see, and then that's what's gonna give this coin value, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty exciting. And then they released this ad basically to let everybody know they're under one umbrella. And we thought this is really like the best 3D we've seen in the NFT space.
Yeah,
the quality is definitely up there.
Yeah, I'm curious who did it. Actually, I don't know. Like, they didn't really specify, but
yeah,
it's definitely a studio out there because I don't think any one person could hit this level.
So, you definitely need like a lot of different artists.
Yeah,
so it should be a studio.
I think it'll be quite a team behind it. But let's check it out.
I hope I have volume in this. Let me check. Sorry. Turn that on. Sorry. I probably need to restart this. Okay. Great. Alright, let's restart this.
So you can already tell, like,
yeah. Very good. Very good quality.
The lighting.
Yeah.
Lighting's pretty awesome.
Got some 2D elements.
Yeah, atmospherics.
Yeah.
Look, it's got some smoke sim.
Yeah, dude. Oh man.
Looks like 2D smoke.
Yeah.
You know the day destroys the night. Night divides.
Oh man, this is the best one. The volcano. Oh, that, yeah.
Break on through to the other side. Break on through.
I guess this is like basically saying like, oh, there's all these different worlds in the metaverse that they can create.
It's like all these different kind of
treasures there.
I don't know if it's worlds or if it's just different like areas.
Yeah, that's right.
To the other side. Break on through to the other side.
And then that's like, and this sort of hits on your second point where this part about a metaverse. It's like a combination of all these different.
Yeah, you want to be able to have all these different styles live in one world.
Yeah.
So I don't think all these projects are under one umbrella, like Cool Cats and World of Women, but I think they're all part of this new NFT world that they're trying to build.
But yeah, definitely like it's very, very cool.
Yeah, very well done. Like in
Yeah.
terms of like the quality, it's definitely the highest.
Yeah.
The highest quality stuff we've seen in the space.
Yeah, definitely. And that's exciting because now like it actually gives you like a visual representation of like, oh, can these different characters like live in the same world? And it like to me, I feel like it's totally legit. Like
it looks kind of looks kind of like wacky, but in a way that's like I can see that happening because I think we've seen enough like iterations of what this metaverse could look like in movies. So we've seen like Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
We've seen Ready Player One.
Yeah.
What else? I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff out there that we've seen.
Oh, the one with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah, Free Guy.
Yeah. I actually really like that movie. Yeah.
I haven't watched that one yet. But, yeah, we've seen enough iterations of what like these kind of like metaverse worlds could potentially look like, and I think it kind of works. Like all these clashing styles.
Yeah.
If you just accept that it's like there's no style. It can
Yeah.
be just crazy and whatever you want.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
it kind of
Yeah.
people kind of just buy that and just
Exactly.
like,
I mean, I think Wreck-It Ralph was the one that opened it up because it like combined like it
It was
combined
almost like different
Street
anime
Fighter
styles.
with what's that, Pac-Man
yeah,
and all that stuff together, and I thought that was like, I think a lot lot just because they've seen that movie, that's the automatically they can already imagine it.
yeah,
because of that
exactly.
movie.
Because I think that movie did it so well. And
Yeah.
I guess they were almost like pioneers of like,
Yeah.
like let's just open up the
multiverse.
style. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
They planted the seed.
Yeah, yeah,
early on.
yeah. But yeah, so it's really exciting to see, to see what's gonna happen. I mean, honestly, we were thinking, it'll be fun to do like wearables and stuff too,
Yeah,
to really go into that path. And I guess like before, like like I kind of want to talk about how it's not just there's like already famous companies that are starting to look into or have already looked into joining the metaverse, and that should say something about like, this is what the trend is and this is where the trend is going.
yeah,
So for example, Nike with, purchased Artifact, and they, I think if you buy a certain shoe, it'll give you like a digital wearable of that shoe.
yeah.
So you can wear in the metaverse, which is really cool. Because I'm a big Nike fan.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I guess
Yeah.
that gives you more things to resell too. Like if you
exactly.
if you buy a shoe, it's like you get an NFT. If
Yeah.
that NFT is worth something, then it's maybe like it's more incentive for you to buy
Yeah.
the actual physical goods.
Yeah.
So not only does it like it helps their bottom line because it's like getting people to buy their actual
Yeah.
physical stuff, but it's also like you win as a consumer because you're also getting something which you can then resell if you want it, or you have this
Yeah.
additional item. So it's like you're getting something for free. That's bonus.
I actually think it's the other way around where I would be selling my physical shoe.
You
Because think about it, like, or like, because I wear like sneakers a lot and I collect them almost. Like, it's after a while, there's like certain shoes that you wear, some certain shoes that you don't, right?
Yeah.
But the shoes you do wear, they become worn over
Yeah.
time, right?
Yeah.
And
well, they
you can't really.
depreciate. They're like
Yeah.
a depreciating asset, unless
Exactly.
unless it's like a hallmark piece or something. Unless it's
Yeah.
like Jordan 1s or
But
something.
those are like the ones you rarely wear, or you really like take care of them, right? But
Yeah.
there's shoes that the ones that I wear right now, it's like I still love them, but I'm gonna wear them for my everyday, right? And the fact that at one point in time they're gonna be worn out,
Yeah.
I can throw them away, but I still have the digital
good,
version.
yeah. So that's I mean that's kind of like the next point. It's like maybe in the future, like these digital wearables are actually worth more than the physical ones.
Yeah, possibly, because I mean, let's say if you can only collect them from
Yeah.
buying the physical good, what if they like every like it's not like they have unlimited stock of these shoes, right?
Yeah.
So at one point they are going to stop manufacturing them, like so for example, like Kobe's, like they stopped manufacturing them.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had like a digital version of them when you bought them like years ago. Now they would only be living in the digital world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean that,
and I could
that's
see
scary.
like there being like there being like some premium to having both the physical and the digital.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to resell that to a collector, it's like if you
Yeah.
have both the physical and the digital one,
Yeah.
that are like tied to one another.
Yeah.
That, that could be a lot of
Yeah.
value there. That
Definitely.
Yeah.
That'd be a good premium. Yeah. So yeah, like they're making these plays, and then of course because one sneaker company does it,
Yeah.
Adidas goes in as well with BC, but I'm not sure who started first.
I think
it was
well,
Adidas.
if I think about it, yeah, I think what Adidas did
Yeah.
with BC feels more. It just feels more like they're in tune with the space, because they went to a project like BC. I mean, it's BC, so they're obviously
Yeah.
winning in terms of NFT projects. So naturally, already that's like, in my opinion, that's a win because
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you just went to like the premium
Yeah.
NFT project and then
Yeah.
and did a collab with them.
Yeah.
And I think just the way they went about it just feels a little bit more like in tune with the space.
Yeah.
So in my head, I think what they've done is the better play. But
Yeah.
it's hard to tell. I mean, this is
Yeah.
like, it's a long game, so
Yeah, yeah,
there's gonna be plenty. They won this battle, but they did
Yeah.
not win the war.
yeah. Adidas will never win the war.
Are you a Nike person?
Yeah, I'm a Nike person. I used to be Adidas, but yeah, I changed a long time ago. My allegiance has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, besides the point, like McDonald's is also going into NFTs. I'm not sure how.
McDonald's. I didn't
Yeah,
know
dude,
that.
it's crazy. Like, so they're actually gonna have a. Okay, so we don't exactly know what the utility is, but apparently they're gonna set up like McDonald's stores inside the metaverse, which is cool. Like people can go in and I guess maybe they're trying to do like you're enjoying your time in metaverse. You don't even need to log out of your metaverse and just stay in there to order food, so you can get food in real
Delivered.
life.
Yeah.
To your real life home.
I mean, that's an example of like, like that's an example of the utility that will come from the metaverse, right? It's kind of like bringing you closer to, the experience of purchasing.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like clothing. You get to see the clothing. If you have a digital avatar of yourself, you can try it on. You can see how it looks on you. Maybe you don't like how it looks, and you can maybe there's some standard that's gonna form around like these NFT worlds where it's like, okay, we have to do a standard for like clothing sizes now.
Yeah.
So if you have your digital avatar and you have a certain height and everything that's built in, if you try on the clothes in that NFT world, it's gonna match that certain level of standard, so the rough fit.
Yeah.
So if you buy something and it's like way longer than you expected, then you can already tell before you even make the purchase.
Oh man, that like I know we mentioned this off camera before, but that would be a dream.
Yeah.
Like to do online shopping, but actually see the fit.
Yeah, to see the fit. People might do 3D scans of themselves, and that maybe you can import that into the metaverse world somehow, and it converts into its own native characters or whatever.
Yeah.
But at least there's a standard that's attached to it that kind of makes the experience of buying something in the digital world advantageous over like online shopping, for example. And it's like, we were talking about IKEA, how there's already technology where you can, AR place things in your house. But, what if you could do that, but it's like, now you're in the world itself. You can feel how it feels like in the space.
Yeah.
If you have your VR goggles on, you're standing in your room, you could look around and you'd be like, wow, like here's the furniture, I want to arrange it like this feels more right to me. The feng shui is like this. You can't do that unless you have these kind of virtual worlds, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And like, that's the fact that even McDonald's is just trying this, where it's like that's another type of utility where like I'm sure they have something that's probably more than that in mind, but that ease of access, like just how it can translate to real life practical applications is pretty cool. And the fact that McDonald's, I never thought like McDonald's
you didn't think like these big companies which like are usually quite slow to move would be like this quick at adopting some new like kind of tech. But I think it's kind of like everything else, like there's a hype around it now, so they kind of, maybe it's not advantageous for them to do it as a business strategy, but maybe as a marketing strategy it's really
just
effective.
To get
just to kind of ride that hype train. It's like, hey, look, we're in like metaverse now, and like people would just be, oh, like what the hell is this about? And they stay in relevancy, they stay in your mind, they kind of take up a little bit of mind share in your brain, because that they're doing that. So it could be just a marketing ploy more than
I still think it's a real estate like thing for McDonald's, where it's like
maybe
you're just taking up
the
space
land
just to advertise, right? Like you said. But I think it's really cool though, like that they are doing it, because honestly they're so well off, like they don't need to do anything.
But I mean, maybe this is how like you stay relevant as a company, right? You have to keep pushing, innovating and adopting new innovation and whatnot. Otherwise, you fall out of relevancy. So I think a lot of companies are starting to see like, okay, metaverse is going to be a thing. Like it's still super early. Everyone probably knows this. But they're like, we're just going to be in it early enough that we can get a sense of the space. But we can also like, there's some advantage to like getting in this early. Like you get in the headlines and stuff like that.
So apparently they were in already in October last year. So that was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's
pretty
like
early.
that's
Yeah.
pretty early. Yeah. Good on them. So but yeah, I think this is something that, you know, if these big companies are checking out, I think, you know, if, you know, you're just, you know, curious about it, I think people should just check out as well. Maybe you can be in early, and then maybe you can, you know, I don't know, maybe you can discover something out of it that other people haven't, and, you know, really cement yourself, you know, with anything. If you're one of the early adopters, maybe you like, you know, you can, maybe you'll
there's
be
an
in a more
advantage
like
to moving
advantageous
in the
position.
space.
Yeah.
Like the earlier you are, like obviously you'll be learning a lot earlier than other people. So
Yeah.
if something big does change in the space, you'll be one of the first people to already know about it. You
Yeah.
can like move quick and act on it.
Yeah.
It's sort of like NFTs with us. Like I think we kind of got in just as it was like really trending towards
Yeah.
the end of like last year.
Yeah.
And the early this year.
Yeah.
So that kind of gave us a bit of an advantage in terms of like just like personal brand and growth in the space.
Yeah.
But you know, like as things get quiet, it's not like you should leave either. That's when you should be building.
Yeah.
So maybe Metaverse is like hyped right now. Maybe it's gonna be less hyped in the next year or two. But that should be the time where you explore these kind of different like innovations, because that's when nobody's looking into it. And
Yeah.
if you're the one that's looking in and building, then you'll be better off.
Exactly.
Yeah. When the people do come, you'll be there already.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's always the lulls, I think, is the place where you should, you know, go in and work.
Yeah.
You should be there for the peaks just to monitor and observe. But yeah, I think it worked out for us in the NFT space so far.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I think Metaverse would be something we're interested in looking into as well.
Yeah.
So,
And yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we can bring on a more knowledgeable guest
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
next Metaverse
Yeah.
you know, topic that we talk about.
yeah, I think we'll pressure Studio Sparkles to, you know,
To show up with his
his avatar. We'll
yeah,
cover
with
his
his-
face, you know, distort his voice. Yeah. So, but yeah, it would be good to have someone with his knowledge to really talk about it. Yeah, if you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe, and we will catch you next week. Peace. Thanks for watching or listening to our content. If you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks again. Peace.